Welcome everyone and good evening. My name is Robert Ortiz and I'm the Director of Family Engagement for College and Career. And I am so excited to have you join us this evening for our last Parent Connect session of the year. And so I know many of you have joined us throughout this past school year for various sessions related to IB, preparing for college, things that are related to career exploration, and many more. And so we're excited to use this time and reflect on this past school year of some of the wins that we've achieved as an organization that is reflective of your commitment and your scholars' commitment to learning and education. We know that this past year has been tough on all of us individually and as a community. And so we want to acknowledge that this year has been challenging, and in a lot of ways, it's been out of our control and it's been out of your control. And so taking a moment to reflect and celebrate the wins despite of this past year, we felt like it was really important to do that. So again, super happy to have all of you with us. And then we also do have a special guest. And so Cherry Rowe is the Chief Program Officer of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas. And so we are thrilled and honored to have her join us this evening as we think about next school year. And so we have a few more weeks of the school year now to complete and finish strong. But she's going to share some words on how we can be looking ahead, especially hoping for brighter days. And so with that, I'm going to transition to allow my supervisor, but also someone that I get the privilege of working with side by side in the work with family engagement at Uplift, and that is Mr. Daniel Gray.
Hi, thank you so much, Robert. Thank you, Sherry, for being here. Appreciate it. My name is Daniel Gray. I'm the Managing Director for College and Career at Uplift. What that essentially means is that in my role, I get the chance to oversee a lot of the really exciting work that the Road to College and Career team does. And it allows us to help, I think, create really great opportunities for scholars of all, really throughout all of our Uplift schools, but definitely for our high school scholars as well. Robert already introduced himself, and unfortunately, Remy Washington, our Chief Academic Officer, is not going to be able to make it. We have a board meeting scheduled at the same time, and so because of that, she is tied up in that at this point. So, but she sends her regards and wishes she could be here, and she will definitely make sure to make some time next year to help out and be a part of this. So, yeah. Next slide, please. And so in terms of what we want to talk about, what I'm going to talk about, again, I have a couple of slides. I want to talk about just really some of our victories that we had this year. As difficult and challenging a year as we had this year, we really still saw a lot of really great accomplishments for our scholars. So, there are a number of junior and senior events that we put on. We had nearly 100% participation with those events. In a pandemic, those types of opportunities become even more scarce and even more difficult for scholars to make. But because of the work that you as family members and obviously our scholars, obviously, and their dedication, we were to have nearly 100% participation. We've had, just like we've had for the last 20 plus years, 100% college acceptance, which is something that we're incredibly proud of. We also had a 20% increase in our ACT scores for our class of 2022, our current juniors. That is something that we're not really seeing anywhere else, one in Dallas, but really even in the country, to see that kind of growth year over year in such a difficult environment. And then one of the things that we saw that we were really proud of last year for our class of 2020, so now our current college freshmen, we saw 81% of them, even during the pandemic, go ahead and enroll in college. And our alumni success team has really been working closely with them to make sure that they are successful and that they're able to work their way towards graduation. Next slide, please. And so in terms of just some other accomplishments that we've had at Uplift, we are really proud of the work that our middle and high school scholars are doing. We have a 91.5% average attendance for our middle and high school scholars, which is absolutely amazing. And again, thankful to all of you family members, but also to our scholars as well too, for the work that they're doing. Our virtual and in-person students we've been creating a significant number of new clubs and ways of trying to create new ways of connectedness and belonging for our scholars. One of the things that we are really, really working hard on is trying to make sure that our scholars feel a connection to our campus and that our families feel a connection to our campus as well too. And this is one of the steps that we're taking to make sure that we do that by creating these clubs and really trying to push those as much as we possibly can. Next school year, so starting in 21-22, We'll be opening up 2 new high schools in Fort Worth, Uplift Ascend and Uplift Elevate. I was actually on a call just recently with them, with their school leaders, going through all the different work that they're doing, and excited to see those 2 schools open up. In addition to that, 100% of our middle and high schools have a pass score rating from TEA. Even more exciting is that actually, if you look at our TEA rating for 2019, we were a B school. That's something that we are proud of, but we also plan on pushing a lot further. One of the things that's not on this slide deck, on this slide right here, but there's actually something that's also represented, is that more than half of our seniors for the class of 2019 were considered college ready based on either ACT or TSI or any number of different college readiness bands. That is more than 13% higher than the state of Texas average, and that's something that is higher than any other local school district in terms of one of the schools that we go against. So it's something that, again, we are really excited to see the things that we're doing, and really happy with what our teachers are doing, with our RTCC team is doing, and really excited to hear a bit more about that. So again, thank you all so much for having me here. Thank you for the work that you all are doing as family members, bringing your scholars to school, having them log on. I know that it is not easy, but it is massively appreciated. And the work that y'all are doing right now, it will help them so much in their future. And I'm excited to see what they all accomplish as they go further. So thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that information with us. Again, I can't speak enough to the gratitude that we have for you as families. Again, that this year has been tough. And so being able to have your scholar log in for class, or to have a hybrid schedule, or to still take them to in-person learning, those actions have a greater achievement than before. And it is because of the times that we're living in. And we're very proud of the commitment that you've demonstrated this past year, and very proud of the things that we've seen. Because as we look ahead to the next school year, what more can be done? What more can be achieved? As we move forward, and as we've learned how to push forward when it would just be easy to not to. So thanks again, Daniel, and thank you again, families, for representing those achievements that we've been able to see this past year. So we're now going to transition to our guest speaker for the evening, Ms. Cherry Rowe. Ms. Cherry Rowe is the Chief Program Officer for Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas, and she has over 16 years of experience in youth development. And here we go. I want to make sure we got the right slide. And discovering that she had a passion for youth and a gift of working with them, Cherry worked her way up through the ranks from a part-time front counter attendant to her current position, which is now currently overseeing 35 club locations. Cherry is excited about working within the communities of Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas, and she recognizes the benefits of the organization's programming, and wants to introduce Dallas area youth to the rewards of being involved in programs that develop them to be responsible and productive. Cherry is an active member of the Ideal Family Church, where she is youth department director, and also active in the Women's Planning Committee, choir, school Sunday school teacher, and praise dance ministries. In addition to her commitment to her church, she is a licensed minister, and she also speaks at youth conferences, which facilitates youth power workshops, and is active in prison ministry. She also leads a small group Bible study for women, coaches a track team, and mentors several individuals. Cherry is a Dallas native and received her Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies with a focus on communication from the University of Texas at Dallas, and she earned her master's degree in public administration from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce to all of you, Ms. Cherry Rowe.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you all for having me. I'm so excited to be here. 2020, a year like no other. I would be lying if I said this has not been a trying year, filled with challenges and difficult circumstances. I mean, our world shut down completely. Restaurants were closed, movie theaters closed, grocery store shelves empty, masks being worn everywhere. We encountered a global health pandemic where over 578,000 have lost their lives in the United States alone. Our version of normal no longer exists. The unknown, fear, the what ifs of life begin to take a toll on us, and we don't know who to believe or what to believe. Is it the CDC, politicians, our families, friends? And on top of all of that, parents had to now transition to a new role as teachers, TAs, and tutors. The 2020-2021 school year brought its own adventures. Yes, we were able to return to some semblance of normalcy. Yes, some scholars were virtual and some were in person. Yes, there were COVID cases and campus closures. And no, we did not have all the answers. However, we did our best and we made it work. One thing the pandemic taught us was the true meaning of resiliency. It's our bounce back, our ability to recover from the challenges we face better and stronger. It taught us that we are far more powerful and determined than we thought. I mean, how many times has a parent said, I'm not a teacher, yet when needed, you jumped right in and facilitated classes and became teachers for your children for months. And even scholars said, I don't think I can make it without seeing my friends every day. And yet we all figured out how to make that work. Adversity teaches us who we really are and what we are truly capable of. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Well, Uplift education scholars and parents, educators, school personnel, CMO office, everyone, I want you to understand this. You stood. You stood in the midst of adversity. You stood when the world was falling apart. You stood when you did not know what the future held. You stood through family members being sick. You stood through a rise in teen depression. You stood through political turmoil. You stood as unemployment rates climbed and companies furloughed employees. You stood through violence and civil unrest. You stood strong through it all. This is what you should be proud of. Be proud of the strength you showed. Be proud of the way you banded together to ensure that these phenomenal scholars did not fall behind this year. Be proud of the creativity and ingenuity you showed to make things work. Be proud of the opportunities you took to stand up for what you believe in. Be proud of your accomplishments. The finish line of this school year is so close. Don't slow down just yet. For anyone that is familiar with track and field or even just running period, you will know that all races have a finish line. And as you get closer to the finish line, you begin to get tired. Your legs feel heavy. You can barely pump your arms. It feels like all of the energy has drained out of your body. And you think you have absolutely nothing left. And most likely, it's at that moment that you look at the finish line. Now, in the context of how you are feeling, the finish line feels so far away. What is only 10 meters now looks like 100 meters. We call this hitting the wall. Fatigue and exhaustion have set in, and your body is telling your mind that you have nothing left to give. And as athletes, you learn to not listen to your body. Your body wants to give in, but your mind wants to keep going. You push past this wall and you hit what's called another gear. Well, for this school year, I want you to know this race is not over yet. Push past the wall. You have so much more to give, so much more inside of you. Mahatma Gandhi said that a man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. And as you and your scholars journey through the remainder of this year, remember Gandhi's words. You are the product of your thoughts. They have power. Become what you think. Think yourself into finishing strong. Think yourself into a strong close to classes and teaching and completing assignments. Think yourself into crossing the finish line of this school year triumphant. Scholars and parents, the beauty of this journey you are on is that you do not have to do it alone. You have a village. You have so many people at Uplift Education waiting and willing to help you. Use your resources. If you just need to talk, they are here. If you need advice, they are here. If you need assistance with completing assignments or tutoring or whatever, they are here for whatever your need may be. In just over a month, you can mark the 2020-2021 school year as complete. And when you do, that's another accomplishment to be proud of. Parents, I hope that you understand the challenges that your children have faced in a non-traditional year like we just experienced. Their fortitude should be acknowledged and rewarded. Scholars, I hope that you appreciate the contributions that your parents have made to your success. They have served as your supporters, your cheerleaders, your backbone. I hope you appreciate their efforts. Families, I hope that you see the jewels you have in the teachers, campus directors, operation directors, and Uplift staff that show up every day to help you reach your full potential. They see greatness in you, and they are risking their lives and personal safety to be there for you. Like Gandhi, I am a firm believer in the power of our thoughts. There are no limits to what we can become or what we can do. And I hope you all see the power that you possess. I hope that you use your power to finish this year strong, to continue to grow and develop, to set high goals and achieve them, to be the best you that you can be. Bright futures are birthed within you. You are beautiful examples of the greatness this world has to offer. I want to leave you with a portion of this poem. Though your destination is not clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning. That is one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit of adventure. Hold nothing back. Cherish the hours and smell the roses. Brave the stormy rain. Appreciate and celebrate yourself. Make every breath matter. Learn to find ease in risk, for soon you will be home in a new rhythm. For your soul senses the world that awaits you. Good luck on the remainder of your journey this year. I wish you all the best. The world is ready for the greatness that exists in all of you, scholars and parents included. Every scholar, every parent, every Uplift employee. All you have to do is decide to be great. I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Cherry. Here's a round of applause for that kind word, and so inspiring. And as you were sharing, I was just feeling energy going through my bones of, in my reflection of, there's been some really dark moments this past year, and for you to highlight the strength within us and within our families to keep going was very timely. And I really am thankful for that and for you being here to join us. If I can I ask you this? So we have 6 weeks left of the school year. And to your point, the finish line is there. We can see it. And if you're familiar with track and field, it's like that last 100-meter stretch. And what would you have to share for scholars and families, in addition to what you just shared of, where it is hard to keep that going, mainly because there might be some disappointment with the school year, right? Maybe didn't earn that grade that we were hoping for, didn't be accepted into that college that we were hoping for. Maybe we have to look to finishing out the year this summer and take some additional time to go to summer school. So for families that that are on the call, where it may be just challenging to be hopeful and to be confident to finish out those 6 weeks, what would you share? And especially as we kind of think about the future and maybe a little bit of that like delayed gratification that sometimes is hard to realize or to see what the next step.
I would start by saying that it's okay that times are difficult. I think that we as people want to be on the mountaintop 100% of the time. And so when we face a challenge, we take it personal, as if our world is falling apart and there is no bouncing back. And that is what resiliency is. It's facing challenges and overcoming. So though your scholar, may have failed a class, or maybe it's been really difficult getting them to just do the assignments. I have a nephew as well that it's hard to get him to do his assignments sometimes. It's okay. And give yourself, that leeway that it's all right, that it's not perfect 100% of the time. But we all have a power in us to be what we want to be. If it's never too late. I feel this way. As long as there is breath in your body, you still have time to make a difference. I don't care if it's the day before school is supposed to end and, you find out that your child has to go to summer school. You know what? Try to find the silver linings. I have this quote that I say all the time, and that's silver linings only. When life throws me lemons, silver linings only. I'm going to make the best of this situation, because getting upset, getting down doesn't make it better. It just makes you feel worse. And we have so much in us. Remember, our thoughts have so much power. We are literally, we don't realize how powerful we are. Gandhi was right. You are what you think. And if you wake up in the morning, I'll give this example. When we wake up in the morning and we didn't sleep on the right side of the bed, right? You wake up with a headache, your day is probably rough that day, just because of how you woke up. Now, you can make a choice. You can say, I'm going to let this rough night of sleep I had deter me and keep me down and make my day horrible. Or you can say, I'm going to look for the silver linings, because I'm a powerful creature and I have the ability to change my thoughts. I have the ability to change the course of my day by just thinking it. That's the power we have as individuals. Now imagine if parents took this same power and put it into their children. We often speak negativity on ourselves. We often speak challenges on ourselves. Life happens, y'all. None of us would have predicted a pandemic. I had never lived through one. I never thought something like this would happen. But we can't allow those things to defeat us. So you take the challenges that you experience and you say, you know what? There's a reason I'm going through this. What can I learn from this situation? Because I'm living my life on silver linings only. The finish line is right there. The monkey has jumped on my back carrying a refrigerator. I'm tired. It looks so far away, but I can do this. I can get up every day and I can make a choice to make today a great day. I can make a conscious choice to speak life into my child. We know that children need the support of their parents to be successful. They think they can do it by themselves. You know, I remember being 16, 17, I'm grown, I'm 18, about to go to college. I'm grown, I have this. But it was if my mom said something like, I'm proud of you, that made my day. I could go and fly. I was flying. Make a choice to speak life into your children and say, you know what, this has been a rough year. This has been a rough year, little cherry, but you know what? We're going to get through this together. We're almost at the finish line, and we're going to make a choice today to set ourselves up in a good situation for next year. You can take time now. If your child is in 8th grade or 9th grade or whatever grade they're in, if they've had a difficult school year, make a choice now to do what you have to do to put them in a good position next year. We often look at summer school as a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I was a straight A student who went to summer school because you know what? It helped me get ahead. Let's change the perspective. Let's change our thinking on some of these challenges we're facing or some of these things the schools are putting forth to us. We can make a choice to be better. We can make a choice to have a positive mindset about it. When we as parents, when we as adults make a choice to look at the silver linings and to be positive, I promise you, your children will too. They will say, you know what? Mama's not tripping so much about the fact that I have to go to summer school. So, you know, I'm gonna be okay. You know, if your child has to go to summer school, it's okay. Don't beat them down about that because listen, this has been a tough year and we have seen increases in mental health issues amongst teenagers. They are doing the best they can. They're trying to survive and exist in a world that is so, no one knows how to interact in a pandemic. Closed off from everyone, no access to resources. So be understanding of that. When they realize that you are supporting them through the difficult times, your children will have a good mindset as well. So it's all about the choice. It's literally the power in you. I say that all the time because I just believe we don't realize how powerful we are as people and how much impact and ability we have to change the world. Literally, you know, you think about it. Somebody decided I'm going to be the president, and then they made a choice, and then all of their actions followed, and then they became the president. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Obama, all of them said, one day I will be president. And there are probably people who laughed and said, whatever, but they believed it. They went through adversity. They faced difficult situations. They flunked classes. All types of things happened, yet they believed in themselves and the power they possessed to do those great things. So it's a choice that we have to make to not let the trials of life, to not let the adversities we face defeat us. It's hard. It happens. So just push forward past that and find that within yourself to move forward. And also, you can reach out to your schools, your campuses. They have ways, they have resources to help you and give you information on how to talk to your scholars about maybe some of the things they're going through or resources to mental health, resources that they may need to get them through the remainder of this year and the upcoming summer.
Thank you. You know, you spoke on that to carve out time, right? Take some time and really reflect on the power that you have and that there are resources available to get you to that next step or to push forward in that silver lining. One thing that I'll also add is, you know, we do have Uplift counselors who will talk to families at their request and to help navigate some of these conversations into how to look ahead. Because again, to your point, mental health has been something that we've all been experiencing, whether we have acknowledged it or not, or you know, those moments where we just are down and we don't understand why. That's because we're feeling a little depressed, or maybe we're feeling anxious, and it's tough to know how to move forward. And so thank you for sharing that and providing guidance and also truth to our abilities when we look ahead. So families who are still in the call, thanks for being with us. I want to also let you know that we are now transitioning to our Q&A portion. So if you have questions for Ms. Rowe, please use the chat or use the Q&A feature on the Zoom call, and we'll now take a few questions for Ms. Rowe. And then if you do have maybe some questions about Uplift, I'll do the best of my ability to answer those, but also just understand that as we look to next school year, we're still working out those details, and also just making sure what's going to be in the best interest of the families when it comes to learning and engagement. So be patient with us. We're working on those details, but if you do have some questions, we'll be happy to try to answer them. So as we're having questions come through in the next 10 minutes or so, I'll ask you one more question, Cherry. And I think sometimes it can be tough to know how to have those conversations as a family. I think because, sometimes because maybe expectations are there to exceed and to do well, that whenever that's not achieved, it kind of puts us in the spot of, oh, well, we weren't expecting this, or we weren't expecting to have these conversations. So it can be a little tough as to how to have them as a family, especially when there may be some disappointment or whatnot. So would you have any insight for us onto how to have that conversation, how to approach it maybe? What are some things to consider when approaching a next steps or a silver lining type of conversation? And then what would you suggest that we prioritize in a conversation between parent and child when maybe reassessing this past year, having some time for reflection, and how are we going to move forward as a family?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, and very necessary. The first thing I would say, or the first piece of advice I would give is to parents, is to have the conversation with yourself about what are your real expectations. We often place, and there's nothing wrong with having expectations for your child. Please set standards. We believe in that. But they're often based on a connection to ourselves and our experiences. And we have to understand that our children are not us. They are growing up in a different time. They are growing up in a different world. Their experiences are different. They're a technology group, right? We didn't have cell phones, and, we had to go to the payphone. I'm aging myself, and talk, and landlines. And we knew a lot about face-to-face interaction, but they're very different. They grow up in a technology age with social media and all of those type of things. So you have to have a realistic expectation of who you want your child to be, but be mindful that they will be different because their experiences are not your own. What often happens, to what the point that you were talking about, Robert, when we are let down, it's because we are let down off of goals that we set without having a conversation with our children first. So it's, I want you to have all A's. You're getting all A's. And then when they don't get all A's, we're upset. You didn't hit the goal. Well, whose goal didn't I hit? You didn't have that conversation with me. You didn't include me in the decision-making process. Just like us, our children are more apt to achieve goals and try to work hard to accomplish things when we have included them in the process. So that's the first thing I would say, is have the conversations, think back to yourself. Am I being very aware and cognizant of my child? Did I consider who they really are as a person and set realistic expectations for their behavior? That's the first thing. The second thing that I would say is that this has been a trying year. And that's not an excuse that we are giving out. It literally has been a difficult year. Pandemics and civil unrest and just so many things going on in the world that just like we're impacted by that, kids are as well. And it's bottled up within them. And many of them don't know how to express that. Because in many households and in many instances, you know, we don't always give our children the ability to express how they feel without discipline. Now, that doesn't mean be disrespectful. That doesn't mean cuss you out. But if we don't have an open line of communication with our children, they will hold in everything they're experiencing. They will hold in all the bad thoughts. They will hold in all the negative feelings, and that will impact how they interact in the world. That will impact how they are at school. I promise you, if you are depressed, it's difficult to get A's. You can barely get out of bed in the morning. So we have to be aware of where they are mentally and their mental health. It's important. We have to give them the opportunity of that. Now, these conversations of not meeting expectations or maybe falling short of the expectation or goals that we've set are hard. My best advice would be just go in with an open mind. Don't go in and beat your child down, because if you beat them down the first time they tell you something you don't want to hear, they'll never come back and talk to you again. And once you've lost that trust, once you've let that window of opportunity close, it's so difficult to get it back open. Lay it out. I want you to, you know, this is uncomfortable for both of us. Be honest about it. This is a difficult conversation for me too. And if we, you know, I want us to have this conversation about how we can move forward. How can I support you to make sure you have everything you need to be your best self, to get good grades in school? Do you need a tutor? Do I need to work with you on weekends? What do you need from me to help support your efforts? And be willing to hear their feedback. When it's a partnership, you can get the best experience from your child. So having these conversations, just open it up. It's difficult. You're going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. And know that you will not have all the answers. You will not solve every problem in your first conversation. You probably won't solve any. The point is to open the line of communication, but be honest. This is a difficult conversation. I want to have it with you, but I love you and I want to support you. What can I do to help you be your best self? What can I do? Let's write it out. Let's put it on paper so that, you know, you can be set up for success. I would have those conversations, but a lot of it is going to be with parents redefining the goals and expectations we have for our children, and then including them in the setting of those goals. Because there are many times we go back and when we look at our children, we wanted them to get all of these, you know, amazing grades, but they're dyslexic. And no one thought to get them tested. Well, they weren't going to get all A's because they were struggling. They were not receiving the resources they needed. You just have to be willing to have those conversations, not have the answers, and not always be right as the parent. And that's hard to hear, and that's hard to say, but you may not always be right. So be open to hearing your child, but just take the leap. Don't be afraid, take the leap and have that open communication with them and give them the ability to speak their mind without being in trouble and not having, you know, oh, I didn't like what you said, you're going to get in trouble for that. Keep it open and keep it honest for them.
Great, thank you. We are getting a couple of questions in, and so I think you've already alluded to this, Cherry, but I'm not sure if you would have more to this question. So what can we do to encourage our scholar to tell us what their future plan is? And, you know, I think part of that conversation is, you know, college, right? Depending on which grade level. But, you know, we definitely encourage for that conversation to be happening sooner than later. And it's never too early to have that conversation, especially about college. And what does going to college and earning a degree mean for you? You know, as a parent, what does it mean for you as my child to earn that? And then what does it mean for the family, you know, for you to go to college and earn a college degree? But some of that conversation can also be about career interests and what do they want to make out of a career, or maybe it's hobbies and things that really get them fired up. So I'm not sure if maybe you've had more comments to, you know, how a parent could approach that conversation of, hey, what is your plan and how can we work on that together as a family.
And I think you gave great answers, Robert. I really do. And it's really, for me, I would add to really play up the side of what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? We often have those conversations about college and career, and it's a chore. It feels like, oh, well, it's traditional. Oh, I got to do this because mom said so. No, what do you enjoy? What do you like to do? And then let's explore. Oh, you know what, mom? I love fashion. That's awesome. Well, let's look at some colleges where you can get a degree. What part of fashion do you like? Do you like designing? Do you, you know what? I want to design. Awesome. Let me take you to a fashion show so you can see what it's like. It's taking these things that they enjoy doing and figuring out how to connect that to a real life career for them, and then exposing them to those possible careers. Because what will happen if you tell them this is where B is, this is a possible career that you can have, they will come back and ask you, well, how do I get there? Do I need to go to college? Do I need internships? What do I need to do, mom or dad? And then you can start having those conversations. So honestly, you just start having them. You say, what do you want to do? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do in life? If they tell you 20 things, that's awesome. I love that you're so interested in so many things. We're going to have fun this summer, researching and finding out about all these careers and finding you opportunities to maybe do some of these things so that you can see that you like it. It's just being comfortable having that conversation, but connecting it to a real world career for them.
Right, absolutely. And I'll also plug that we do have a new career team at Uplift, and they've been this past school year, well, maybe before, I've lost all track of time, but essentially, they are a newer team to Uplift schools, and they are ramping up career exploration programs, career services for our middle school scholars, our high school scholars, and even our alumni. And so we have support there for our graduates who have gone to college, or maybe college just didn't work out, but they're still interested in making a livable wage. That team is supporting those scholars. So we're excited about that. And to your point, Cherry, it's, those experiences and that exposure can really spark an interest and help scholars connect the dots as to, oh, this thing that I was really interested in and that I'm passionate about, I didn't realize there was a job for that, but now I'm learning there is. And so we're excited about those career opportunities. And Cherry, I'm not sure if you wanted to share this, but I was reminded about your personal story of where you were really driven by your interests to be connected to Boys and Girls Club as a volunteer, and then where that led. So would you be comfortable with sharing just a little bit of your journey?
I sure can. So I started, I didn't think I liked kids. I'll just start by saying that. Who knew? I actually started at Boys and Girls Club as a volunteer. I was in college, and my sister worked there, but I was a struggling college student and needed to make some money. And so I applied to work at Boys and Girls Club. I said, oh, I'll just do this till I graduate because I'm not trying to work with kids. I'm getting a communications degree. I'm going to do some other things. And truly fell in love with the work and found my passion. Now that happened a little bit later. On my first day, I called my mom and said, Mom, what did I get myself into? I don't think I'm going to make it. But I realized the difference that we make as an organization. And I love helping people. I love working with people. As you can probably tell from my bio, I'm a people person, and I just want to help impact lives. I found my calling. There was about to be a gang fight one summer, and I literally hopped the counter of the Boys and Girls Club. I was a part-time employee, ran outside between these two rival gangs, and I just talked to them and said, please don't do this here. We have hundreds of kids in this building, and this is not what we want them to see. We want them to know that the community is better than this. There is more to life than this. And those gang members actually said, all right, ma'am, and walked off. And went, I think they would fought, but they fought somewhere else. And it was then that I realized that we could truly have impact. Now, I was still part-time, and I loved this work, and I just didn't know how to leave. And I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to be a part of it. And I found a career. Literally everything I studied in school from my bachelor's to my master's, everything I was interested in. From, I thought about, being a journalist. That was originally what I wanted to do because I like public speaking. Literally every skill set, everything that I was good at, acting and all these things, I have used in my current career. So I was able to take a passion and turn it into a career. And that's what you want for your children. You want them to be able to take their passions and find a career. That's when it's not going to work every day. It's going to happiness because you're making a difference.
And then lastly, the meeting is being recorded, and so that will be available on YouTube by next week. And so be looking out for that. And all of that is also always shared on YouTube. And I think that will give us the time. So we are 2 minutes from 7. And Cherry, I just want to thank you so much for being with us tonight. You have spoken life into me, and I'm sure for our families on the call, of just naming that this year has been tough and it's been out of our control, but also that there are reasons to celebrate. When we started the call, we talked about all the achievements that our scholars have demonstrated, but also for you to share that it was strength that got us to this point, and it's going to be strength that takes us going forward. And that power is living within us. And it's just a matter of taking that time to really reflect and understand that we have those abilities. So thank you so much. And I'll just leave it to you maybe for some last comments before we wrap up.
Thank you. I just want to say that I am very proud of you all for the resilience and the fortitude you have shown this year. It was great to see parents, the community, everyone band together to make sure that these scholars, these students, these youth that we serve in this area and that we have here are set up for success. Life throws challenges our way. It's how we stand, it's how we react to those challenges. And you guys have shown that you are great people. So use the resources that are available to you. Use Uplift. You can use me. I'm here, Boys and Girls Club, all of us. You have a village that's willing to support you in your efforts. So just the fact that you're on here tonight asking questions and learning about what you need to do to set your scholars up for next year, it makes my heart smile. So thank you all. I'll give it back to him, but have a great evening. Thank you for having me here. It was great speaking with you all and being a part of your journey.